Everyone, it's Nancy here, and I'm back with another layout for you. And again, this is going to be a multiple photo layout, and I'm just sticking all of these photos together to make a photo block. I have scrapped quite a few of these photos, but I really like them because there was lots of us just being stupid and silly and making silly faces and stuff, so I did want to include those. So I am just arranging those into a block design. And then I've just cut that out using my scissors. I'm not being too fussy. And then I'm cutting this lovely background piece of paper there up. And then I've got this Jubilee piece of paper, and that's a My Mind's Eye with all these shields on. And I decide that I want to use that as my background. And as I mentioned in my paper selection video, I really wanted to paint this background. And I'm going to take my inspiration from that border piece for the photos. So I'm just adding some water there, just so I've got some water to use. I'm not sure 100% what I'm going to use for the colouring, but I end up using a selection of my mists and ink pads. So I just started off with the green because that was one that was on my desk, and I've shown you a technique before where you kind of push the ink pad into the lid so you can pick up some colour, and so that was what I was doing with that. And these are just the distress inks, and as I said, some of the colours don't come out as bright as I hoped, but I think they just add a little bit of interest to this beautiful background piece of paper. As I said, it's got nothing to do with what I'm scrapping about. But there again, I don't know what you'd necessarily use this for. Maybe if you've got a photo of you with a shield. Well, I don't know. So I'm just taking all my inks and colouring those in. I love that crushed curry from the Stampin' Up ink, so I'm just using that. And I start off trying to do like 3s of everything, but then I realised that if I keep doing that, everything's going to be a little bit stark, so I'm just placing them around, and I'm not colouring them in like really, really neatly. I don't worry if I've gone over the edge. And so, just kind of looking if I'm happy with how everything is, and I want to put some sort of darker blues on. And I said this is a really good way to use your inks up, as well, so you're not, you can use those colours in other, formats. So I'm just bringing my photo back to check that I've got enough around it. I just want to add a couple more bits and pieces in. And I'm going to just, again, use some of the bright pink Dilutions, because even though there's a lot of colours in that background piece around my photo, it's also distressed, so I don't want to make it too bright. And I'm not, I'm doing some of the incomplete shields as well, so it looks like they're going off the edge. I also wanted to add some black ink splats, just to sort of build up some texture on this background. And you want to get some kind of larger ink splats as well, which I managed to get everywhere, because as we all know, I'm not the neatest scrapper. So I'm just going to dry that out, and then I'm now going to start with my layering. So I had pulled out some black paper that I had, just like an odd bit sitting around, just to bring some more black into this layout. And then this is a piece from the Chamel collection, which features like different words and stuff, so I'm just going to cut that into a fishtail banner. Of course, I don't want to do too much embellishment on this layout, because then I'm going to cover up a lot of that background design, which I don't want to do. So I'm now looking through the paper pads at different embellishments and bits that I can use. So I've pulled out the sort of red ticket thing from the a piece of paper from Chamel, and I'm using one of the branding strips as well. And I'm just playing around where I'm going to put everything. And this is just kind of, where I kind of fuss about trying to get everything down, but I don't kind of, go into too much detail, because otherwise you have to end up going and sticking it all down anyway, and it's a pain in the backside. So again, I'm just cutting up more of these little Chamel cards to add to my clusters. And there's a bit of a dead space there in the photo, so I'm not too worried about covering it up. And as I kind of said, these are more outtake photos. I said this in the last video. I've just added some more branding strips to the different pieces on the layout and just layering those up. And I pulled out that piece of paper from the Brighton Pier collection, which has those little like cutesy clouds on. So I'm just cutting 3 of those out because I want to add one to each cluster. And then there was a little word strip on there. I think it said, "Oh, have a great day," or "the greatest day," or something like that. So, or "a beautiful day." So I've just added that on. So I just stopped the video while I cut those clouds out, and now I'm just layering all of my background papers up. As I said, that black piece is actually a Project Life card. It came from the DIY collection from American Crafts. So I'm just adding everything down. I don't want to move stuff about too much. As I said, I wanted to keep my clusters quite tight because I didn't want to cover up too much of that background paper. And as I said, it's kind of, a fun design, which I wanted it to be for these photos, because the photos are just us being silly and my boyfriend keep making funny faces as I was taking selfies. And those clouds are really cute, and they kind of work on this layout because it is fun. I wasn't really sure how I was going to use that paper up, but I think it works quite well, just as a little element in the cluster. So looking at those pin badges I've got, and so I've stuck one of those up in the top. And just seeing what else I've got here. These are some stickers that Oh Snap Gonzo Sandra sent me, and so I'm just adding some of those. I did just tear that one half, they're vellum stickers, and I've just added that to those clusters. I really wanted to use those triangle ones, but I was having a little bit of a mission in some places. But I really like how they look, and then I'm just using the stars that are on that sheet as well, and adding those to the clusters. These are stickers from the Gossamer Blue collection, and I really like them. They are puffy stickers, and there was a couple of crowns on there, and I was like, oh, they're cute. Oh no, I'm actually going to use them. So I put the big one, of course, on my head, and then the smaller one on my boyfriend's head. I just think it adds a little bit of fun to the picture. You don't necessarily see it as the first thing you look at on the page, but as you look at it in more detail, like, oh, there's little crowns. And I really like that, and I decided as I was making this, layout fun, I might as well do that. So I'm now just putting my title down and using these sketchbook thickers from American Crafts. And again, I've had these in my stash for a while. I had several packs of them because I love them so much. I'm just using my wet glue to stick them down because they're not the stickiest stickers, but I really do like them nonetheless. They also did pull out the asterisks to add to each of the cluster. I decided to use those brackets there at the bottom just because I had lots of brackets on that sheet of thickers and I wanted to get them used up. When I was looking across my desk, I saw this Amy Tam piece of paper, which again is really old, but it had a few cameras still on it, so I decided to cut one out and add to that bottom cluster there, and it picks up like the orange of the crowns as well. And there's a couple more of them there as well, so I decided to just cut them out to add to the embellishment clusters. And I really do love, doing the fussy cutting out of paper to make your own embellishments. I really do think it adds something. And so I'm just going to cut one of the final cameras out. And then this again is a border strip, which is a little blue piece. And I was looking at adding that somewhere on the layout. I'm not sure if it was needed. I don't like to waste branding strips if I can help it. So I've just pulled out that little puffy sticker I stuck on there, because I think that's where I want to add that camera. And so I'm not too worried that I overlaps that photo there at the bottom, because they're not important photos as such, they're just silly photos. And then I also found this on my desk, the really old Jenny Boland stickers. And originally you were supposed to use like the letters in the middle of the stars, but I do put the stars on just with the asterisk in the middle. So that is this layout. I want to thank you very much for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!